Hook and setup. A mind-altering drink makes employees work themselves to death. That's the darkly comic premise behind Kombucha 2025, a horror comedy directed by Jake Myers. Known for blending genre elements with a sharp visual style, Myers teams up with writer Jeff Bakken to deliver a fresh twist on workplace malaise and body horror. At just 95 minutes, this film packs a potent punch, turning the fluorescent monotony of a cubicle farm into a nightmarish playground. With a cast led by Terrence Carey and Claire McFadden, Kombucha stands out in the 2025 landscape as a genre mashup that's both unsettling and blackly funny. Today, we're breaking down how this film uses its premise, direction, and performances to critique corporate culture through horror and humor. Premise and context. At its core, Kombucha is a workplace horror with a deadly twist. The story follows an aspiring musician trapped in a fluorescent-lit cubicle farm, where free kombucha in the break room seems like a perk, until it begins to change him in disturbing ways. This blend of horror, comedy, and sci-fi elements fits neatly into the growing trend of genre films exploring toxic work environments and corporate dystopia. Released in 2025, Kombucha arrives amid other socially conscious horror films, but carves its own niche by mixing body horror with dark comedy. It's a standalone piece, not a sequel or franchise entry, and its 95-minute runtime suggests a tight, focused narrative that balances creeping dread with satirical bite. Direction and Visual Style Part 1. Jake Myers approaches Kombucha with a keen eye for claustrophobia and visual discomfort, crucial for a film set largely within a fluorescent-lit cubicle farm. Myers' direction leans into sterile, almost oppressive compositions, boxes within boxes, emphasizing how the environment traps the protagonist. The color palette is dominated by sickly greens and harsh whites, mirroring the unnatural effects of the kombucha and the toxic corporate atmosphere. Camera movements are deliberate but subtly jittery, creating unease without resorting to jump scares. Editing is tight, with rhythmic cuts that mirror the mechanical monotony of office life, gradually accelerating as the horror intensifies. Direction, then Visual Style, Part 2. In terms of tension and pacing, Myers balances the film's comedic and horrific elements carefully. He uses slow builds in scenes where the kombucha's influence begins, slowly distorting reality through practical effects and subtle digital enhancements, rather than overt gore. This restraint makes the moments of transformation more impactful. The fluorescent lighting itself becomes a visual motif, a cold, unyielding source that contrasts with the protagonist's internal chaos. Throughout, Myers' direction amplifies the absurdity and dread of corporate conformity, using visual storytelling to underscore thematic concerns without heavy-handed exposition. Performances and Ensemble. Part 1. Terrence Carey leads the cast with a nuanced performance that anchors the film's tonal shifts. Known for his ability to portray everyman characters caught in surreal circumstances, Carey provides the emotional grounding necessary for the audience to invest in the protagonist's unraveling. Claire McFadden, as a key supporting figure, offers a counterbalance, her delivery sharp and often sardonic, adding layers to the ensemble's dynamic. The supporting cast, including Paige Bourne and Jesse Kendall, contribute a believable office environment vibe, capturing the awkwardness and forced camaraderie of corporate team building. Performances and Ensemble, Part 2. The chemistry among the ensemble is crucial here, because the film's tension often arises from interpersonal dynamics as much as supernatural horror. Charon Alvarez and Magdalena Conway, with their distinct screen presences, help build a microcosm of office politics and shifting alliances. T.J. Jagodowski's inclusion hints at moments of dry humor and deadpan delivery, while Kai Young and Armin Grant round out the team with performances that blend eccentricity with subtle menace. This balance of comedic timing and horror credibility is key to the film's tonal success, making the transformations feel both absurd and viscerally unsettling. Writing, Structure and Themes. Part 1. The writing by Jeff Bakken and Jake Myers crafts a narrative that uses the kombucha as a metaphor for corporate exploitation and dehumanization. The film's structure likely follows a gradual descent, from curiosity and mild suspicion to full-blown horror, mirroring the protagonist's transformation and loss of agency. The screenplay cleverly blends satire with body horror, using the break room kombucha as a symbol of toxic workplace perks that mask deeper dysfunction. Themes of conformity, identity erasure, and the cost of ambition thread through the story, offering a critique of how corporate culture consumes individuality. Writing, structure, and themes, Part 2. Stylistically, the screenplay appears to balance horror set pieces with comedic beats, avoiding the pitfall of tonal whiplash by grounding humor in character reactions rather than slapstick. The narrative likely employs tight, escalating conflicts within the office setting, emphasizing claustrophobia and psychological strain. The film's relatively short runtime suggests a lean script focused on core themes without unnecessary subplots, delivering its message with precision. While it's speculative, the writing probably uses the kombucha's effects as a literal and figurative catalyst for transformation, exploring the limits of human endurance under corporate pressure. Franchise and comparisons. Kombucha is a standalone film, but it fits into a contemporary wave of genre movies that critique work culture through horror and dark comedy, like The Belko Experiment or Office Uprising. Unlike high-budget spectacle-driven horror franchises, Kombucha trades grand set pieces for intimate, character-driven dread. It shares affinities with films like They Live or Brazil in its dystopian satire, but leans more heavily into body horror and absurdity. Audience expectations here center on a blend of creeping unease and black humor rather than complex plotting or large-scale action, positioning Kombucha as a thoughtful genre hybrid that prioritizes mood and theme over spectacle. Franchise and comparisons continued. The film's comedy-horror balance also recalls recent successes like The Menu or Freaky, where social satire powers the narrative tension. However, Kombucha distinguishes itself by focusing on the microcosm of office life rather than broader societal targets. This makes it particularly relevant for viewers attuned to the monotony and alienation of modern workspaces. While it doesn't reinvent the genre, it refines familiar tropes with a unique aesthetic and a sharp directorial vision, offering a fresh take on how body horror can intersect with workplace satire. It's 4 and overall take. Part 1. Kombucha will resonate most with audiences who appreciate horror that doubles as social commentary, particularly those familiar with the grind of office culture. Fans of dark comedy and body horror, think Tucker and Dale vs. Evil meets the Stuff, will find its tone and premise compelling. The film's relatively short runtime and focused narrative make it accessible for viewers who prefer tight, character-driven stories over sprawling epics. However, those expecting traditional jump scares or fast-paced horror might find its slow-burn approach and heavy thematic focus less immediately thrilling. It's 4 and overall take. Part 2. The cast's solid performances and Meyer's stylish direction elevate the material, though the film's niche blend of genres may limit its appeal to more mainstream horror audiences. Its strengths lie in its ability to marry unsettling body horror with workplace satire, without feeling gimmicky. Potential weaknesses could stem from pacing choices or tonal shifts, but overall, it stands as a confident genre piece. For anyone interested in horror-comedy hybrids that offer more than surface scares, Kombucha is a worthwhile addition to the 2025 film slate. Sharp, unsettling, and oddly relatable. Outro. In the end, Kombucha serves as a potent reminder that sometimes the most terrifying monsters are the ones lurking in the break room. It's a film that uses its unique premise to explore deeper anxieties about work, identity, and control, all while keeping you on edge with its dark humor and unsettling visuals. If you're curious about how horror and comedy can come together to critique corporate culture, this one deserves a spot on your watch list. Thanks for joining me on Cut to Reel. If you like this breakdown, there's plenty more where that came from. Until next time, keep your eyes sharp and your kombucha close. Thanks for watching Cut to Reel, I'll see you next time for another look beneath the surface of cinema's best.